Thank you, Senator Grassley. Senator Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Congratulations to each of you. Ms. Hill, what is collateral estoppel?
Collateral estoppel. I think collateral estoppel, well, Senator, I will say that my 20 years of practice has primarily been dealing with issues relating to criminal law or relating to other areas of the law.
Yes,
and
ma'am. If you don't know, just tell me.
I certainly do know collateral estoppel. I'm finding that the bright lights of the moment are making it hard for me to recall it.
Okay, so you.
The Senate Judiciary Committee, a hallowed hall, a battleground of ideas where the future of the judiciary is often decided. Today it was the setting for a dramatic showdown between Senator John Kennedy and judicial nominee Sara Hill, a moment that had been building for weeks. At stake was not just a lifetime appointment to the federal bench, but the very soul of American jurisprudence.
Okay, so you don't recall it. Okay. What is the amount in controversy requirement?
The amount in controversy requirement is $75,000. It typically governs, in many cases, almost any case in diversity jurisdiction in the federal courts.
Okay.
And a certain other.
What does the 13th Amendment to the Constitution do?
It outlaws slavery.
What does the 7th Amendment do?
It ensures that all civil jury trials, that all civil cases in the United States are done by jury trial. That you have a right to a jury trial in a civil case.
Okay. What is the difference between a stay order and an injunction?
A stay order would prohibit, an injunction would restrain the parties from taking action. A stay order, I'm not sure that I actually can give you the.
Okay.
That.
Tell me about, you'll see a lot of this in federal court. Tell me about the multi-district litigation statute.
So I'm not extremely familiar with the multi-district litigation. I do know that multi-district litigation is often consolidated into a particular court. So all of the cases involving a particular type of issue, if there is a multi-district litigation, those will all be referred to one court and one judge who will then oversee the MDL. But I will confess I'm not super familiar with all the ins and outs of that.
Okay. What kind of constitutional claims are subject to intermediate judicial scrutiny?
Cases involving certain types of classes, such as gender or illegitimacy, are subject to intermediate scrutiny. Some types of speech, like commercial speech, would be subject to intermediate scrutiny.
Okay. Tell me what a 12B6 motion is.
It's a motion to dismiss a claim, a motion to dismiss an issue for failure to state a claim.
Okay. And what's the standard for granting a summary judgment in federal court?
It says that there are no issues of material fact, and that the issue can therefore be decided as a matter of law.
Okay. What's the standard for deciding whether a particular punishment is cruel and unusual under the 8th Amendment?
So the particular standard the court has said, and I cannot recall the case, but it says that you have to look at not only whether it is would be shocking to the individuals at the time that it was written, so it's not purely a historical review, as some of them are purely historical, but also you have to look at how it has changed, how those values have changed with time. It's one of those circumstances where the court says it's appropriate to look at how values have changed with time.
Well, our right against cruel and unusual punishment is a fundamental right, is it not?
It is.
Okay. How do you square what you just told me about the 8th Amendment with the case after case after case by the U.S. Supreme Court that says the definition of a fundamental right is one that's explicitly stated in the Constitution or deeply rooted in our history and tradition?
Yeah, I think that it is. I think it is deeply rooted in our history and tradition. The
Yeah, but certain forms of punishment or not. If a form of punishment, it existed at the time of our founding, and it's deeply rooted in our history and tradition, you telling me that makes it automatically constitutional today? I thought you just told me.
No, I'm certainly not saying that. I'm not. What I say is about it is really quite irrelevant, but the Supreme Court has said we look at it with a view to the changing values
Yeah,
on
but
these
why
issues.
the difference? I thought
Well,
they're both fundamental rights. Why the difference?
I think that's a question that the Supreme Court's going to have to answer, whether or not they
I
have.
think it has. I'm just asking if you know.
I think I've answered the question to the best of my ability, Senator.
Okay.
What does the future hold for Sara Hill? The Senate Judiciary Committee hearing was just one chapter in the ongoing saga of Sara Hill's nomination. It was a pivotal moment, but far from the final word on her future. Her fate now rested in the hands of the full Senate, where the political winds could shift with a moment's notice. The stakes were high and the atmosphere was charged with anticipation. Her performance, however, had left an undeniable mark. She had faced tough questions and intense scrutiny, yet remained composed and articulate. She had shown herself to be a skilled jurist, capable of navigating the complexities of the law with intelligence and grace. Her knowledge was vast, and her dedication to justice was evident. But in the hyper-partisan arena of Washington, D.C., would that be enough? The political landscape was unpredictable, and alliances could shift overnight. The nation held its breath, waiting to see if Sara Hill would ascend to the federal bench, or if her story would become a cautionary tale of ambition thwarted in the unforgiving crucible of American politics. The outcome was uncertain and the tension was palpable. The question remained, would her impressive display of legal acumen be enough to overcome the political obstacles that lay ahead? Only time would tell if Sara Hill's journey would end in triumph or disappointment.